I know some of y'all who are watching my commentaries or watching my videos are probably saying to yourself, why is Torian taking so long to speak on this Jonathan Major situation? Or maybe he's just waiting to talk about it, or maybe doesn't want to touch it at all for whatever reason. Well, if you asked or guessed the second one, you would be correct. Because I didn't want to come out the window immediately and say anything about this situation because it was a fresh story, and I knew a lot of people were going to hop onto this story because it's a major breaking story, especially with someone who has pretty much had a very rather clean image up until this point. Now, Jonathan Majors, I have said, is definitely going to be one of the biggest actors of our generation. His career has taken off in a huge and major way, and it's like a runaway train with no stop in sight. You're either hearing about him in an upcoming movie or him working on a film that's coming out soon, like a little bit later down the line. Now, let's run down a little bit of the stuff that he's done so far in such a short amount of time. The first time I got introduced to him was on Lovecraft Country, which was a very good show that was on HBO. I wish it got more than one season. Then he was in this movie called The Last Black Man in San Francisco. I didn't have a chance to watch that movie, but from those who have heard who have saw it, said that it was pretty good. Then he appeared on an episode of Loki as He Who Remains, which is one of the variants of Kane the Conqueror. And that was kind of like an introduction to what we was going to see from, or we're going to see from him in the MCU going forward. Then he was in a movie called Devotion, and there's probably some other stuff in there that I might be forgetting, but I'm thinking more the mainstream stuff that he's done. I didn't get a chance to see that movie, but I've heard kind of mixed reviews about it. But from what I did hear, his performance was still phenomenal. Then, of course, he had his breakout role as Kane the Conqueror in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, while the movie did not do well financially and successfully in that regard, his performance was superb. Then, of course, he was in Creed 3 with Michael B. Jordan, and I told y'all in my review how much I absolutely loved that movie. That movie was one of the best movies I saw this year. He also has a movie coming out at the end of the year called Magazine Dreams, which I definitely want to check out. And if his cards are played right, it could be an Oscar contender. But then again, I'm not holding my breath. And with this situation right here, I won't be surprised if he is or could have a chance to be, that they won't snatch it away from him because of this situation right here. I also heard that he's supposed to be working on a Frederick Douglass biopic, and he's also had some other stuff. So this guy, literally, his career is like zooming like right now. It's one of the fastest trajectory type of careers that I've seen out of one person in a very long time. And it's very rare that someone gets an opportunity to really shoot up in the ranks like that so fast. So I said to myself, I'm glad everything is happening right now for him, but they may find a way to try to halt that or kind of slow that down a little bit. And then you have this situation that just occurred this past weekend in New York. So the story that has been presented by pretty much every outlet right now is that Jonathan Majors, he and a female acquaintance who we have many determined to be his girlfriend, who I found out is 30, and he's 33. He's the same age as me. He was born in 1989, just like me. I actually also found out he has a daughter, which I didn't know. And one thing about Jonathan Majors is that his personal life is very private. Because like I said, I didn't know he had a daughter, but really I wasn't looking into his personal life anyway. I was really focusing more on his craft, which is acting. I didn't really care about his personal life like that. I don't really like to get into all of that. I like the people who do gossip and, celebrity news really delve into that, because I did not know that this man had a daughter. But yes, he has a daughter. Now, I don't know if this daughter he has is with the lady or the woman that was in this alleged dispute with him. I don't know if this is another woman and he has a mother. I mean, the child has a different mother, or if this woman is the mother of his and his daughter. That I don't know. It really, at this point doesn't matter. So the story goes that Jonathan Majors and his girlfriend left this bar and they got in a cab. They was in New York. I believe they were in Harlem. No, in Brooklyn. And something happened. Some kind of dispute occurred with a phone. Apparently, he was texting some other woman. She got upset, tried to take the phone. And then that's when the domestic dispute ensued. And then all of this just chaos just kind of blew up like right instantly. And this is something I wasn't even expecting to hear, because I was actually doing something completely different on Saturday night, and then someone sent me this message in a DM on Instagram, and it kind of like blew my mind. I was like, wait, is this for real? And sure enough, it was. And then I went on Twitter, and he was the #1 trending in the world, and still is today as I'm recording this video right now. And that's all they've been talking about for the last 24 to 48 hours. So, you know, that happened. And then I'm reading more into it. He ended up being arrested, you know, for strangulation, domestic violence. When I said domestic, I said now that pretty much confirms to me that this is a girlfriend. So they said it was, you know, strangulation, assault, domestic violence, all types of different things like that. And the latest that I've heard is that he was arraigned. The first thing I heard after the arrest was that he was released on bail. His spokespeople said that he's denying all allegations and that none of what this is coming out is true. And they're going to get to the bottom of it to try to see if they can square all of this away. The latest thing that I've heard is that he was arraigned, which means he was brought before a judge, and nothing more, you know, past that. Now, the thing is, this alleged attack occurred on an evening, I believe maybe Friday evening, somewhere around that time. But the call to the police from the girlfriend or whoever this woman is did not come until the next morning. Which means she did not immediately call the police after this happened, or even maybe say within 30 minutes to an hour after happening. This call came the next morning. So a lot of people are suggesting or assuming that did she embellish, or did she, you know, injure herself, quote unquote, in order to hype up what has occurred. Now let's just take back, you know, go back a little bit. Think about what happened recently. We have to go that far back. Look at what recently happened with Michael Irving, when this white woman allegedly, well, she said that Michael Irving had assaulted her or something to that effect. But then you look at the hotel cameras, Michael Irving didn't even touch this woman. But she's claiming that he did this, that, and the third to her. But they released that footage, and now she got to either be quiet or walk back her statements that he stood. I'm sure he's going to sue her, and he definitely should. Look at Obum Selly, even though he was a Sambo. That white chick he was with tried to claim that he was so abusive and all types of stuff like that. But when you look at the conversations they had, the altercations they had, even outside of that elevator or in that elevator, that eventually led to him being murdered. Yeah. Again, it's these lies in the historical representation of those lies that makes people give it a side eye. Now, to my knowledge, Jonathan Major's girlfriend is apparently a white woman. So I already know there's going to be a lot of black women that are probably not going to rock with him on that, for the simple fact that it's a white woman that he's allegedly dating, so to speak. And I've already seen the comments with people saying, oh, he's on his own. It is what it is. He should have known better, this, that, and the third, and so on and so forth. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. And this is not to throw any dirt into black women's way. But let's not sit here and pretend that it's only white women who ever done something like this throughout history. Historically, yes, we know that the lives of a white woman has gotten black men and black towns destroyed. But let's not sit and pretend that they are the only ones that have done this to black men. We're not going to sit up there and pretend like that has not occurred or cannot occur. I'll give you two examples: Brian Banks and Tupac Shakur. Tupac Shakur ended up going to jail behind the lies of a black woman. Brian Banks ended up going to jail behind a black woman. And I'll give you a bonus: Merlin Santana. This man was murdered behind the lies of a black female. So let's not sit here and pretend like it's just a white woman thing. Yes, we know historically, because it goes back to Emmett Till and even before then. Historically, we know what their lies can do, but we know that there have been other women who are non-white who have done stuff to get black men hemmed up. Because black men are public enemy number one, regardless of who it comes from. It could be a white woman, black woman, Asian woman, south of the Borderian. It could be a white man, south of the Borderian man, Asian man, so on and so forth. That crosshair is just right there in the middle of our head, no matter what. So I just had to get that out there. If some people feel some type of way about what I just said, then hey, a hit dog hollers. Y'all know how that saying goes. So far, that's really all that's been put out there as it pertains to Jonathan Majors in this entire situation as it stands right now. So I'm sure as the days go forward, there's going to be some more information that's going to come out, and I'm going to try my best to stay on top of this, as many people are going to. But what I also find to be very interesting is a lot of people are saying, oh, recast. I'm seeing the words recast everywhere when it comes to him. I'm like, we don't even have all the details yet, and y'all already calling for this man to be recast. Yet Ezra Miller, you know what? I'm not even going to go down that road. We're going to just keep it right here. Mark Wahlberg, for those who know his history, that man still is working in getting A-list roles. And his history has been all but buried. So I and others are going to wait it out and see what comes of this, because the worst thing is that they actually get something on him, because that will be it right there as far as we know, probably. But again, he's still going to have this stain on him because of allegations. Like, he's basically about to become the face of a big franchise. So who knows what's going to come of this later down the line. All I'm going to say is, black people, let's just wait until all the facts come out before we jump to conclusions and start calling for him to be recast. Let's just wait it out and see what comes out. I would like to see footage from inside that cab, me personally, to see exactly what happened. And also the cab driver, that's a testimony right there. That's what you call a Kia or star witness right there, because this incident happened inside the cab. So the cab driver is going to be able to give a first account of it. And then most cabs, or all cabs, have a camera inside of them, for their safety. So you have the cab driver and you have the camera from inside the cab. We need both of those. We need to see that footage, and we need to hear the testimony of that cab driver. Those two right there is going to either make or break Jonathan Majors' future. I wanted to also bring up this tweet. Actually, it's a couple tweets from this person named Irrational Confidence Guy, who posted this tweet on November 16, 2022. They said, when there's a black man who starts to ascend to mainstream prominence, people will search for reasons to not support them. It happens time and time again. Michael B. Jordan, Nate Parker, Mike Coulter, now it's Jonathan Majors. Now, at the time, it wasn't really anything on Jonathan Majors, because at that time he was getting ready to release that Devotion movie, but so I didn't know what angle they were coming at when they mentioned Jonathan Majors. And then they wrote, it's wild because black men aren't allowed to break through to stardom as often without people trying to socially hold them back for things that don't matter. Meanwhile, other people are abusers, druggies, etc., and still go further. So I thought that was very interesting how they were able to call this even back in November. Now, this tweet right here also comes from the same person, Irrational Confidence Guy. Shout out to them. And this was posted January 22nd, 2023, which was about a little over a month before Quantumania came out. They said, watch how people switch up on Jonathan Majors once Ant-Man and Creed come out. They called this back in January. Here we are near the end of March. And what they said then is happening right now, because what movies have come out? Ant-Man and Creed 3. So they called that one right down the middle on both tweets. And the thing is, the reason why it's so easy and it doesn't seem so predictable, unpredictable, is because it is so predictable. They do this all the time. Again, like I said, if they get something, they have even a sliver of evidence that they can get Jonathan Majors on this, they're going to cook him. We can already foresee it happening. They're prepared. They feel like this guy is rising to stardom too fast and he needs to slow down and we need to throw something in his way to make it stop. But if y'all thought this was something, I want y'all to check this out. Look at this article right here that was posted on The Direct on March 26, 2023. Avengers 5 lead actor accused of quote unquote vicious abusive behavior by directors following arrest. What's happening now? The pileup is about to happen. They probably like, oh, thank God. This woman says something about what he allegedly did to her. Now it's our turn to find our voice and tell people about how mean and vicious this big black burly boogeyman is. Let's read into what they're saying. Following Jonathan Majors' arrest on Saturday, the actor received major backlash online, being labeled among many things a vicious, cruel, abusive human being. Now keep in mind, these are some of the same people who a while ago were bigging him up. That's why I keep telling y'all, I said to people who are in Black Hollywood, they love y'all until they hate you. And it don't take much for them to flip on you like a dime. The Kang actor vehemently praised for his performance in Marvel's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and is set to be the lead star of Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, was arrested in New York City for allegedly physically assaulting his girlfriend. Majors and his representatives claims he is innocent and the actor is currently out of custody. With this news though, Twitter users began to speak out against Majors. So let's see what they're talking about. As news of Jonathan Majors' arrest broke, Twitter users began making their perspectives known about the Avengers 5 actor. Back in February, filmmaker A.B. Allen tweeted about a beloved actor who in actuality is a vicious, cruel, abusive human being. There's a particular actor relatively new on the scene who Twitter has violently fallen head over heels for, in actuality is a vicious, cruel, abusive human being, both professionally and in his personal life, and every new viral thirst tweet about him drives me insane. Following the news of Majors' arrest, a user tweeted, "Now we know who this tweet was about," with a screenshot of A.B. Allen's previous post. Allen then simply responded, "Ding, ding, 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 ding." When pressed on why the user now will not share more, despite the public at large seemingly seeing evidence of what was posted, A.B. Allen explained that it would still expose people who have been hurt. The specifics of what I know, unfortunately, would still expose people who have been hurt and deserve to not become part of some larger media inquiry if they don't want to. So I'm not going to get into the details, but now y'all know what his deal is. So Society Theater co-founder and Broadway actor-director Tim Nicolai offered support on Twitter in now-deleted posts, sharing that it's strangely a relief to know other humans were out there who understand. Nicolai continued saying that many in Yale and New York City communities, later specified to be 2012 to 2017, graduates from the NYU Juilliard Yale, consider the actor a sociopath and abuser. I'm just going to say this about Jonathan Majors and be done with it. Folks at Yale and the broader New York City community have known about him for years. He is a sociopath and abuser, and that is how virtually everyone speaks about him. It's a shame it took this long for him to be reported. In response to comments about why it seems people kept quiet if they knew this about Majors, Nicolai explained that people have tried. It's both simultaneously awful to know he's still doing this and also a relief that he may never get to again. I'm already seeing a bunch of "why didn't you do anything, folks, people I have tried." Ultimately needed a victim to come forward. It's both simultaneously awful to know that he's still doing this and is also relief that he may never get to again. Nicolai did not want to expose people who want to remain quiet. A bunch of us are close with people and sometimes multiple people he has directly harmed. I don't know if they will speak on it. It is completely their decision. Nicolai explained that if casting directors like that's the currency, but nobody will call his ex's girlfriend at the time, directors, professors, they don't do that. The actor went on to share that literally people Jonathan Majors did this to are texting me right now. It's not I heard. And it says Disney and Marvel Studios have yet to officially comment on the Avengers: The Kang Dynasty star's arrest. So as you can see right here, the pile-on is about to commence, or it's commencing right now. Now everybody wants to do it. When they keep saying that they felt like they didn't have a voice, or they felt like they couldn't do anything because, you know, people wouldn't have, you know, believed them, I take that with a grain of salt. Because at the end of the day, Jonathan Majors is a black man in Hollywood, and if they could find a way to tear him down, they probably would have believed it. But yeah, this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. And see, the thing is, they're bringing this stuff up now for two reasons. One, to back up what is recently going on with Jonathan Majors, and to give this a cushion or a backup just in case what happened allegedly in this cab falls through. Then they can say, oh, well, that fell through, so now we're going to throw this in there, and maybe, you know, we can still do a thorough background check on him. So now, because they brought this up, especially going back to when he was in school, now they're going to dig back even further and try to pull from any and everybody who has anything blemishing or negative to say about him in order to push this thing forward and keep this narrative going. And something else that someone mentioned when they were reading the articles is they keep mentioning about any upcoming projects that he has, almost to let people know he has this and that project coming out. We're just letting you know right now, just in case if you want to start the cancel campaign right now. So when the movies or shows or whatever he has working comes out, to not go and support it. Sort of like what they did, like that tweet said with Nate Parker. They got scared to death when they learned that Birth of a Nation could have been an Oscar contender, which it definitely was. And the fact of the narrative of the movie, they did not want that to happen. So what did they do? Literally in August, they brought up old stuff from when he was in school, from alleged violations between him, this white woman, and this other black man who was, I think, his writer or one of his co-writers for the movie. And then, well, y'all know what happened. Jonathan Majors is probably right now getting ready to go through the same thing. I've heard some people online call it a humiliation ritual, which, if that is true, I find it interesting that it's mostly black male actors that go through that, if it happens to land on them. They're going to drag this out for as far as they possibly can. Like I said, the best case scenario for Jonathan Majors is that nothing comes of this, and that this was completely blown out of proportion and there's nothing there that they can go on. The worst is that they find something that they can go on and keep this going forward. And then if they do that, then yeah, Jonathan Majors, his career in Hollywood is probably going to go just as fast as it came. So I want y'all to check this out. This is exactly why I said I wanted to wait and let stuff come out before just jumping out the window and immediately putting a video out there the day that this information dropped. So look at this right here. It says Jonathan Majors' attorney says video will prove he's innocent in woman's alleged assault. Remember when we were talking about the video from inside the cab, because all cabs have surveillance inside of them. So it says Jonathan Majors says he is the victim of domestic violence allegations that led to his arrest in New York. The actor's attorney, Priya Chaudhry, told USA Today in a statement on Sunday that Creed 3 and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania star is completely innocent and is provably the victim of an altercation with a woman he knows, and expects charges will be dropped. The New York Police Department confirmed to USA Today in a statement on Saturday that Majors, age 33, was taken into custody after officers received a 911 call from a 30-year-old woman who said she had been assaulted. The woman was taken to the hospital, according to the statement. On Sunday, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office told USA Today Majors had been arraigned on multiple charges, including assault and aggravated harassment. In the complaint, the woman claimed she was struck with an open hand, causing a laceration behind her ear, and suffered bruising and pain when the defendant put his hand on her neck. Majors' attorney says she is submitting evidence to the district attorney with the expectation that all charges will be dropped imminently. This evidence includes video footage from the vehicle where this episode took place, witness testimony from the driver, and others who both saw and heard the episode, and most importantly, 2 written statements from the woman recanting these allegations. All the evidence proves that Mr. Majors is entirely innocent and did not insult her whatsoever. That's a lot. And his attorney sounds very, very sure about what is in there. Because remember, we said there has to be video. We need more stuff. So she said they have video footage from inside the cab. They have a testimony from the cab driver and two other people who were there. Plus, she's recanting her story. The fact that she's recanting her story just lets you know that she was lying, most likely. But remember when I told you that even if it comes out that he most likely could be innocent in all of this, or they blew this out of proportion, that the damage was most likely already done? Check this out from BuzzFeed. Jonathan Majors' U.S. Army ads have been dropped in the wake of his arrest for alleged assault and strangulation. I just saw this ad when I went to go see John Wick Chapter 4. And I was like, wait, that Army ad, and I had to think about it. I said, wait a minute. That's the Army ad that played ahead of John Wick Chapter 4. This man had a whole Army ad. And I don't even think he served in the military. I don't know. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But I mean, it really doesn't matter if he did, if he didn't, because they'll use a celebrity to push people to go in and enlist into the Army. So I said, wow, they couldn't even wait before anything came out. But like I said, the damage is already done. Whether or not Jonathan Majors is innocent in the eyes of the public, well, a vast majority of the public, but not every single person, he will be seen as guilty. And this right here is just the beginning. The only hopes is that he doesn't get dropped from the MCU for what has been alleged. And hopefully, like I said, they'll wait for everything to come out and then they'll go from there. But based on what this attorney says, they may not have to wait long to make the decision to not dropping him. But the people the Army who made this ad, they dropped him prematurely almost immediately. And I think that's actually very interesting coming from the Army in the military, but more specifically the Army, considering they had some shady stuff about them too. And all the scandals that have been going on or has happened at Fort Jackson. And there's a person with that definitely comes to mind when it comes to the Army. I'm not sure if that was her post, but her name was Lavinia Johnson. I highly suggest people go and look her up and what happened to her back in 2005, if you don't know the story already. But yeah, like I said, if they can muddy his name up, that's all they need. Because then it's going to put you in the position of, did he do it? Or is he innocent in all of this? Or what they're going to say is, well, he's not completely innocent because he did put hands on this woman for no reason, even though she lied and embellished about what was going on, because something just tells me she is not going to tell the whole story, or she didn't tell the whole story, but that video and that testimony is going to tell it. And I think she should be held accountable for her actions in this as well. Some more additional information has come out. Again, another reason why I wanted to wait to put this out there. It says police sources say Majors called 911 himself to report his concern about his girlfriend with whom he lives. It needs to be with whom he used to live with. He does not need to be living with her anymore. Hopefully, well, I highly doubt they're in the same quarters right now. When police arrived, sources say the girlfriend told a different story. That she and Majors were in a cab on the way home from Brooklyn when he physically attacked her. Again, her story is falling apart so fast, but again, the damage, like I said, is already done. The point was to make him out to be the bad guy, to make him out to be the villain. It wasn't about proving his innocence, quote unquote. It was about making him look as villainous as possible, as villainous as some of the characters he's played in movies, more so more recently with Kane the Conqueror.